but 19 keys.
The Court's top thought leader.
He dropping keys. Go ahead, drop some keys.
Who could do good with an extra 10K in their pocket?
Man, what everybody?
Y'all got loud on that one. If you go to school and you get a debt and you don't have school to take care of that debt, what did you do? Was that smart?
It's liability.
Education is schools are one of the slowest institutions to change.
Literally.
And now you don't know what to do. So now you got to go find an influencer who is getting experience in the real world to teach you what to do.
Literally.
So I know too many people that have degrees that are BS.
Hey, be honest. Be honest.
All you got to do is create content. And content sounds simple, but the reality of it is content is a transaction for attention.
Exactly.
Right? If I get 1,000 people to watch something, my goal is to think about how many people can I convert.
Exactly.
The whole point of somebody getting attention is so that they can convert that into profit.
Exactly.
Right? So for me, I got videos where I have a show called High Level Conversations.
Yep.
I think last year we got up to like 50 million views. I put my own products on advertisement, right?
Yep.
So all I got to do is think about the conversion numbers. If I can convert 5% of 50 million and I'm selling them an average product that costs $50, how much money is that?
So what?
We got some math majors in here.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I ain't gonna lie, you want us to really do the math.
If I got 50 million views, right, and I convert 5% of 50 million, what's 5% of 50 million?
Is it 5 million?
No, it's like 2.5. Wow.
She said 2.5 million. So let's say you convert 2.5 million people and you sell them a $5 product, right? How much money is that?
A lot. Like,
she said 12.5 million. Was that right? I'm gonna make sure. I ain't doing the math. I'm gonna let y'all do it.
I ain't.
5 times 2.5.
See, I look at everything as a business. YouTube will pay you a certain percentage, but that's not where you make the real money. The real money is that if you go out there and you do something goofy and get attention, you better get you a return on your investment. You better get an ROI out of it. If I got paid nothing, but I still do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's dependent upon the money, you're not gonna be satisfied. Because I've had days where I made $100,000 in a day. Still feel the same. I had it where I made 100,000. Somebody sniped their tip. Who ain't believe it?
Me? That's me raising my hand.
I ain't see what? That's crazy.
He did. I bought it too. I believed it.
I came here at this school.
He is infecting me.
As a favor for my brother. I didn't know it was even gonna be young students. I would have came and prepared a completely different conversation for y'all. You can laugh all you want to. You can play. You can not be in this moment and feel like this ain't for you. And that's up to you. It's not gonna matter to me. If you don't know how to observe a moment and understand when something is important and when something is leading you to your destiny, when something is empowering you and you walk away with fresh eyes and fresh mind and fresh perspective, then you won't have the power to go through these wars that we about to go through.
Man.
And the most dangerous war, it ain't fascism. It ain't racism. It ain't sexism. That's the distraction from the real war.
It's yourself.
The real war is the self-war.
Exactly.
It's the war of loving and hating yourself as you go through life. See, there was a time where we would go out there and be activists. We would go out there and fight for it, right? But we didn't really have that power to change things.
Exactly.
On many different levels. Now we got all the power, but we ain't got no demands for nothing.
Thank you.
What are we really demanding? Not what we asking for the system, things that we just changing. They should just be looking like, man, black people habits is different.
Exactly.
For years. Gucci sales should be down.
Man,
where black people shopping at?
Saxfield.
They should be worried and they should be trying to study, which they are doing, constantly how to get our dollar, because they said we got trillions of dollars. That
Spending
means
power.
that you are the reason other people have wealth.
Literally. Literally.
Every time our mothers and fathers, and we don't have a landlord that looks like us, just being alive is paying somebody else.
Man.
We gotta eat and we don't own the grocery store. Every time we eat, every time we spend $1, we making somebody else rich. Right? So our wealth, our spending power represents somebody else's wealth. So they know that if I educate you and you stop eating so bad and you don't go to that fast food restaurant and you become Afrocentric and you only want to shop with somebody who looks like you, that's dangerous for their family because their family is dependent on your ignorance.
Exactly.
So black education is a weapon for change. If we got a smarter population, we make better decisions. Yeah, I heard all y'all earlier, you feel me? We low level or high level?
High level.
We low level or high level?
High level.
How many of y'all really believe in yourself like,
I do.
in 5 years,
I do.
10 years, you gonna actually become somebody? Okay, who
You
could
ain't
do
nobody
good with an
now.
extra 10K
I
in their
am
pocket?
somebody.
You ain't nobody now, but you gonna become somebody in 5 years.
Wait, I actually meant to leave it up because I just want to highlight. I love seeing the remixers in the comments. Chitty Matcha is exactly on point. What the actual F? As each minute of his speech progresses, the level of ignorance spewed increases exponentially. The even scarier part is it seems like he may be speaking to high school students. Now that was
listen.
but
So
what Chitty said is bars, but that was
well,
crazy.
and your sister Zakia's I skimmed through hers as well. Hers wasn't much better. She said that we instead of talking about power, we should talk about survival, and she centered her lecture around Amos Wilson Blueprint for Black Power. And she conflated a whole bunch of stuff there, but I got to go back and listen to the whole thing.
Did you
but,
go to the event? Was that you on the camera?
Damn, Diallo, we said we wasn't gonna say that in public.
Sorry. I want an amen corner and an organist for Earn Your Liberation. I knew it was something missing from this show.
I agree. And you know, but I mean, what the one thing that stuck of many errors, I was trying to think what product would any black person or business have access to that they could sell 2.5 million times, even at $5? What would it be? What would that product be? Because again, one of the first issues, and I know that wasn't meant to be taken seriously, but one of the first issues is always the ability to scale up. And I just don't know at what, and then how would you do it repeatedly? The point would be that you would have to do that repeatedly, not just one time. So I don't, but there was just so many issues with even the claim that I didn't know who I was going to be talking to today. That was wild too. Like I just be showing up places with fireplaces, digital fireplaces, and my suits on.
I'm coming to a college and I don't expect kids to be there, young people to be there. I just wasn't expecting.
Or I would have had something else to
There's
say.
a whole different fucking grift. I gotta damn. He left his grift Rolodex in the hotel.
So you know, our brother Diallo Sumbri, who works with 19 Keys, was on. I didn't prepare this, but he had something on his Instagram speaking about buying power in Africa, and or did I send you all the link? Were we playing?
Yeah, that was him. I didn't even know that was him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mentioned, I don't know if I sent the link, but the point was that he was basically saying that the first continental African group. All right, actually, I think I did send it. Okay, let me just play this real quick because I think it's a nice. And this was his happy birthday, Dr. King.
Yeah, we're gonna get into some King
comment.
Policy does not recognize in clear, concise language or act the universal diaspora, the diaspora of non-volunteered migration, but the diaspora that resulted from kidnapped Africans hundreds of years ago. You know, descendants of kidnapped Africans, we don't have country representation. So the first country, mark my word, the first country bold enough, the first country courageous enough to claim that diaspora, not only in talk, but in action and in deed, and in legislation, and in policy, will be the one to benefit from that $1.3 trillion spending power that's available just from African Americans, not including Caribbeans and everything else. Now,
So I commented and just said, because I mean, we're not tight and in the same circles, but I know Diallo a little bit. We've over the years, over many years actually. Again, have had occasion to interact. And I was just saying again, with all due respect, because a lot of that sounds good. Pan-African policy. The point that Black America does not have that the backing of national, all of that sounds from an initial starting point right. But I was just saying, we're basing our plans on mythology, this buying power mythology. So any plans you seek to develop are going to be misinterpreted, not likely to be fruitful. And his response, he did respond. He said, I misunderstood his point, that he was talking beyond buying power, blah, 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 blah. We didn't get into a back and forth, but again, I'm saying the initial starting point of Pan-Africanism, but on the basis of commercial exchange and a capture of a buying power is putting what should be a revolutionary political movement unifying basis is changing the foundation of that to something commercial, capitalist, business oriented, entrepreneurial, and again based on the mythology of a pooled resource that doesn't exist. So I'll pull this one this next clip up here, but
aren't there a dozen countries that already offer dual citizenship? Can I fly to Gabon and buy my Jordans?
You could get it in Ghana though.
Huh? I'm gonna go to Ghana for my oat milk lattes. Black buying power, but we already have that. Why doesn't he acknowledge that there are already countries that offer dual citizenship and encourage cultural, historical, and ties with African Americans?
So this guy gonna tie some King comments with buying power. He's just all over the place. And when I said, yo, y'all need to probably read more King before y'all make these videos, he also kind of responded like, oh, I was just asking the question unbiasedly and blah blah blah. And but go ahead, hit that.
Tell them people don't shoot the messenger. Your boy just got a quick question. Do y'all think Dr. King's mission aided or hindered the Black community? I want to start off by saying Dr. King was a powerful being who had pure love and intentions for his people, family. But you got to keep in mind, just because someone has pure intentions does not mean that they leading our people in the right direction. Let me give you an example. So in the 1960s, around the time the civil rights movement was founded, the Black community was thriving. I'm talking land, businesses, schools, bus line, grocery stores, the whole nine. I believe the biggest mistake Dr. King made was pushing the narrative that integration would bring about peace and equality onto this country. And if you do your homework, family, you'll see the man even said it himself. During one of his last speeches before he was assassinated, he is quoted saying that he led his people into a burning house. What y'all think he talking about? So the birth of the civil rights movement definitely brought an end to Jim Crow, but it also brought an end to Black people wanting to support Black people when it comes to business. Before the civil rights movement, Black people couldn't just go in Louis Vuitton or Gucci and buy a pair of shoes. Consequently, we was forced to shop with our people, which recycled resources within the Black community and made us stronger. We own and control less than 1% of the resources in this country today because our leaders then were focused on fitting in rather than standing out. If the first law of nature is self-preservation, how the hell are we going to preserve ourselves if we continue to give our resources to the people oppressing us? And the only way to fight economic oppression is by practicing group economics. Make sure you support your people. Peace.
Oh, man.
So there's no need to study King. As long as you can use him to push your individual goals forward, like even Michael Rappaport is doing as well. So again, after this video, I hit the dude up. I was like, y'all need to study King more before y'all start making these videos. And I explained to him like the narrative that you have is coming from a white think tank, right? And your version of group economics is probably off as well. And then again, this thriving part, this comment has always said never with any evidence, right? So there's really no evidence. It's almost like with J Real Estate, which he used to call himself, Jay Morrison, at the Legacy Center, this idea of thriving, and even people who work there can't even explain that, wait, this neighborhood wasn't thriving. There was a few people with some money, but definitely not thriving. And then he has this idea that all he know about King, or he says all he knows about the King is all he's preached was integration and Christianity, right? And so these opportunistic grifters and business owners always have a way of spinning King to which they either slander him or they celebrate him in a way that don't even represent who he is and what he's done. And it's interesting how in the comment he was like, well, I'm about reform. I mean, rebuild and not reform. But again, his idea of rebuilding is that last line about, supporting each other, not dealing with capitalism, not dealing with imperialism, but, Black people are in the position they're in because they wanted to fit in and not circulate the black dollar, which is some wild shit.
Can I say this? I agree with what you said about evidence, but there is some evidence there because I keep bumping up against these dudes who have these fantasies about the Black family and Black businesses during the Jim Crow era. And what it's basically demonstrating is that a large population of Black people are willing to say, hey, the daily indignities, the occasional lynchings, the lack of mobility, and the diminished second-class citizen status, I'm willing to go through all that if I can have, number one, my own business. If I can have my own business and a woman that ain't got no options but to marry me and put up with me because, she don't have no other options. There are Black men yearning for Jim Crow era conditions because they don't really give a fuck about our collective advancement and well-being. And they were like, damn, the conditions of Jim Crow era America are something that I desire because of the benefit it afforded certain Black people. And they envisioned themselves as being members of that Black bourgeoisie and being able to ransom themselves out of the horrors of Jim Crow and to hell with everybody else. I just want a woman that's stuck and trapped with me and dependent on me, and I want a business, and everything else can fall by the wayside. So I think these dudes are really confessing and telling on themselves. It ain't about collective advancement. It's about my individual status.
This is probably a poorly or insufficiently developed analogy, but I think if we take what Diallo just said and the accuracy of that perspective, I was just thinking, again, selfishly, my experience at Morgan is a perfect microcosm of what Diallo was talking about in the 21st century. That if you have, in the context of a settler colonial state, relative Black autonomy just allows for bad Black actors to become the primary initial exploiters of their community in an insulated from any broader authority. So what Diallo is saying is exactly, it allows for a Black bourgeoisie to take over, to capture the local political and economic apparatus, to be the first wave of exploiters and beneficiaries, and then to promote the argument that this is the extent of the change that we need. So but there's just so many, you already said it perfectly, Geechee, when you said, I mean, the man, we're doing everyone a disservice by just
you just don't read, beloved.
I mean, it really is, like how can you tell me you're gonna make reference to King's last speech and not even put it in the context of him being there to support labor organizers? I mean, and himself choosing to stay at a Black-owned motel while realizing the insufficiency of that as a broader strategy for Black liberation. Like so I mean, but we don't need to be fair to him and the fact that the first man to his body was an undercover eventual CIA agent. We don't need to show any respect to any of that history. We can just demean him, call him a liberal Zionist, as others have been doing lately, and a Black bourgeois. I mean, all of these things. Michael Rappaport, and then somebody who was attacking me recently also was saying, and called me bald. That's the worst part of it.
That's fucked
Made
up,
fun
man.
of my being follically challenged.
Bro, I see a follicle. Don't let him talk. I see that follicle right there. Don't let him do you.
I mean, it's
by
just
choice. Just like 19 Keys chose not to do math in his head, we choose not to allow our hair to grow.
Stupid. Yo, damn. Oh no. So listen, I think your last point, Jared, kind of brings us back to the conversation when you was on assignment. You were supposed to check out the Capitalism Museum, but the argument was around some of your comments and how people receive it as, business people being an enemy. But I think like having a conversation around the purpose of business, the purpose, the utility of Black businesses is a really tough space because, again, this idea of service and not really admitting that like you have to turn a profit, that's actually your goal. You have to pay whoever. I feel like that's a really tough conversation with the business class or the buffer class, whatever the term you can call them without being antagonistic. Those people, I think that's a really tough conversation around why you're in business and what is your objective and how you're gonna change the material conditions of the community along with yourself and your family. But I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I'm all for it. If you can start a business that takes you out of the horrific employment experience to survive, I don't necessarily have a problem with that at all. I get it. It's just but to turn that into the argument that that's how we're all going to get free is. But I would love it if the TikToker would have, what is your one reference for your argument around the value of collective economics?
Or again, I don't think it's a idea of collective economics. It's almost like, what do we consider collective economics? Because again, if you into the Kwanzaa spaces, how I hear it and how I see it is, go to each of these tables and buy something from them, and that's collective economics, right? So I it's not the fact that we don't want to deal with economics, is that like the way in which we've been dealing. Same thing with electoral politics. It's not that you don't want to deal with it. It's just like we have to deal with it in a more serious way. Like
it's not even. He literally said we were forced. We didn't have options. It's siege economics. It's apartheid economics. We didn't have the ability to go. We were literally deliberately through public policy and cultural norms not allowed to engage in certain actions and in certain places. And like he said, he wants white folks to resurrect those barriers so that we don't have any choice or any mobility. I mean, these guys are fantasizing and want to reinstitute Jim Crow and think that they in that under sieged, oppressed population, intensely oppressed and overtly oppressed population, they believe that they'll be able to sit at the top of a mountain that is locked behind racial barriers. And for Coco to suggest, they just don't know no better. I think they are very clear on that. They are not just advocating for a return to Jim Crow. They're literally denouncing people of this ilk, or talking about no fault divorce. They are celebrating women losing the options. There are a lot of conditions and characteristics of the pre-civil rights, pre-women's lib, pre-colonial, decolonizing movement. A lot of characteristics of that era that are attractive to a lot of people based on their ideology. This reactionary, puritanical ideology that has infected even the so-called conscious community.
Coco didn't say they didn't know no better. She said they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry. And let me just. I'm sorry. That doesn't mean
they're just confused. Don't actually know what to do. No, I agree. I mean, so that's sort of my point. And
I'm a dumbass by accident. Sorry.
That's why I'm in full agreement with. I mean that's sort of my whole. The only way for us to properly understand and engage economics is to get past some of the mythologies and to actually study how the economy works. And we can't do that if so much of what we're doing is based on mythologies and half-truths and poor methodologies and TikTok references to vague references to something that somebody once said without without citation or context, or some, again, passing reference to cooperative economics without any explanation or context for what that is or how that means or how what it could actually be logically expected to do in the context we're in. I mean, none of this is, but but broadly speaking, that's been sort of my whole problem personally, that every attempt to actually engage in real exploration and understanding of economics and the political economy of this country is met with non-studied mythology, and it's frustrating.
But yeah, I think this idea of from last week, and I wanted to actually look at some of the comments, but me and Dennis kind of went back and forth in the chat about the idea of your approach, right? And why you would even begin to start a lecture or a conversation by saying, I don't have solutions. And his argument is that, no, you do have solutions. And again, I think what I was trying to argue was, like, if you're dealing with a people who literally asked you that's the first thing they ask you whenever you critique something, that might be a reason. And then also the fact that there's a line of things that you have to deal with before you actually get to the solutions. And that conversation just seems like it's not.
If the question is about me, maybe there is maybe there is a tactical flaw in the way I express not having a solution. I've always I like to be as honest as possible. I don't like when people claim that they have the solution. I think we need to be more humble and honest about what potential there is and whatever our claimed solutions are. And really what I'm trying to get to is that what people say are solutions are not, in fact, solutions. So the simple fact that people can claim to have a solution that then goes unchecked as for its viability, and then be given credit for having said they have a solution is part of the problem. The other part of it is that technically, even in my Buying Power book, I do have an argument for what a solution would look like. It's just that most people don't like what that is. They just don't like the argument. So it's not that I don't have a solution. They just don't like the solution that I have, or they don't like that I am honest in my attempt at being honest. And when I say that what I'm calling for as a solution is in some ways intentionally vague and ill-defined. But if at some point I would want people to get to at least be honest with themselves. Yes, Jared said he doesn't have a solution. Yes, Jared is flawed when in his approach or his personality or whatever. But at some point, what is the core and the substance of his argument? Is it right or wrong? Have I put in the effort to understand the argument and the accuracy of it? Blah blah blah. Take Jared out of it. What is the value of the argument on its own? Me saying I don't have a solution, does that mean that the argument is in fact wrong? And how do you determine that? So I'll stop. What did you put?
You bought some tickets to Geechee Land. You want people to engage first of all, you want them to read and comprehend your argument, and then you want them to engage or root their critiques in your argument. So you didn't got a season pass. I went to Land.
A season pass,
and he didn't even send me the address. I couldn't even buy tickets because now both of y'all talking.
Nah, you can't come to Geechee Land.
I actually have a 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I was about to ask about a time check. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, can we run the start comments and criticisms and questions, and then
I do think depending on how much time you have, Geechee, after Diallo leaves, Ricky did send us a 5 or 6 minute video that I think we could either play and respond to, or even just let be the closing. We could just let it play as we wrap the show.
I'm sick of y'all doing this show behind my back. Y'all ran and
I left early last week, and you kept going.
And stole FD from me. Oh yeah, we did. Okay.
You kept going after I left early.
I rescind the complaint.
All right.
Let's get to it.
All right. Are you going to pull them up?
Yeah, I can pull them up. Oh. So, where in the world? Oh, we got to skip. So we don't pull these up?
Yeah, we did that. We did
already
that
know.
one for
Right on.
sure.
Gambling. Was this a sanctioned gambling location that you?
No,
Do they have?
Now
Why
people
don't they
saying
have
I'm
spades
upset.
tables? They
People
don't have
making
spades tables at the
accusations. I would go
casino.
ahead and live up to
Oh, I
it.
got $10,
Well,
baby.
what do you-
Show my
where is
$10.
this?
Thank you, librarian. Geechee's investigative journalism.
Let me get that
Snooping,
team.
putting up them, get some of them striker cameras.
Five going
Yeah.
on something. Five going on something that made me think about this. The Haitian Revolution. I felt like when I read that thing, I was like, yo, whatever these people smoking, I'm gonna think I need that instead of the
Right.
stuff that I have. 'Cause I don't know where this person got into this Haitian Revolution idea. Oh yeah, Gabriel Rockhill. Yeah, I don't know if
I don't
somebody
know
got a
Gabriel.
connection to him.
Who's that?
That's the guy I was talking about who had an analogy. He actually got a Black Agenda Report article where he talked about the good cop, bad cop. The good cop is the liberal, the bad cop is the fascist. Pretty dope. Diallo.
I stand on my conclusions and assessment. Unless we're gonna redefine some terms, it is what it is. But yeah, because I worked at Rikers Island for 3 years. That's what shaped my assessment of Tukey. Yeah,
There you go. You're right.
great comeback. Good
Right,
shot.
right.
But I just want to be clear. I don't know if, this is my response to the one good cop. And with all due respect, and I know, we don't always see eye to eye on everything, but on this one, Wise Intelligent, this whole album and this track in particular is do me a favor. How do you pull that back up in a second? I just wanted to show the one good cop line.
All right.
So that people could see that that's the track right there for your one good cop, your good cop, bad cop. But yeah, I don't know. I'll have to check Gabriel's piece, and anytime we want to bring him on, let's do it.
Word. And I think Musa actually just published something on media literacy.
You know what? I saw that, and to be, straight, yesterday was Hood Communist Thursday, and shout out to them. And I all jokes aside, I will not front. I am wildly honored when people in that crew make reference to me and my small efforts here. It is a legit honor, and so I saw that, and I appreciate it. But yeah, definitely check that out beyond just the reference. But I just want to be honest about that. I do appreciate it. I'm not gonna front. It's nice to it's nice. So yeah.
But be used correctly instead of used ineffectively, huh?
Well, honestly, even if there's disagreement, I appreciate that if people who I respect, who are doing good work and have good politics, are making use of any of my efforts to contribute. That's the whole point. That's all I've ever really wanted. So it's nice. That's all. That's it. But
so Jared has $4.99 on it. You got 5 on it. How much longer do y'all think the dollar will be the global reserve currency? I'm a freshman and actually need to finish my education.
Well, my quick answer to that, be honest, is that you gotta. I would encourage people to read Michael Hudson's work. The Super Imperialism is important, but the short answer for me is keep tabs on the effectiveness of the U.S. military. That's how you will determine how long the dollar. Because until there's a military defeat, the dollar
closed bases and recalled aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines.
Got to deal with that. Otherwise, it ain't going nowhere. So unfortunately, but maybe fortunately for you, you're going to get your
Bitcoin
education
is up.
Bitcoin did go
Bitcoin
back.
is rebounding.
Oh boy. Boy.
The two guys need to be in the people's jail. We need to apprehend them brothers and let them sit down and read some shit.
Yeah, that Haitian joint is distracting. I'm with Internetager on that one. That's going to be on my mind grapes for a minute too.
So Diallo, I want you to feel this one because I feel like we had this dope conversation that I should repost about capitalism, but this engage in the conversation about economics. Go ahead.
Can I just say that her profile pictures really captures her essence and her that is the most appropriate. I
What
mean,
did you talk about? Yeah?
whoever took that picture, I'd like them to do my meat because that is
The facial.
essence of
Just
that.
respond to
So I
economics.
disagree. I disagree. In our recent exchange, notwithstanding, but when we met, I don't agree.
The head tilt. I mean,
Coco showed up.
She's very
Coco
kind
showed
and
up.
nice and chill.
I
And
like good craftsmanship.
she can get spicy when she need to.
that
But
Yeah, but I think Coco showed up.
Picture is the most.
The only
shout
thing I
out
don't
to
like
the-
about Coco is she ain't gave us no vegan food. Other than that, I love everything about it.
Who said anything about hate?
I'm
It
just
wasn't
saying.
that
Could you
time.
respond
I
to the
can't compliment. Y'all feel like y'all got to defend.
Oh, that was a
against my
compliment?
criticism?
Mr. Gynocentric guy? Don't focus on the
Gynocentric.
picture. Focus on the words.
I got my gynocentric credentials. The sisters, have brainwashed me, so I can say.
How should we engage economics, Dr. Diallo?
I agree that we can't ignore economics. And how should we engage them?
Yeah, the conversation around it, or even the practicing of the
Socialism, dismantle.
I hear that. But most people don't understand what capitalism or socialism is and how it's going to be even possible here. So, what are your recommendations, Diallo and Jared?
That you find out what capitalism is if you don't know what capitalism is.
No, it's sort of what I said earlier. I think I agree. I've never argued we should ignore economics. I think that the way we engage it is wildly flawed, and that's why I think we need to understand how economics works. We need to understand we do need to understand the arguments around socialism and that history and how the political economy is set up and the role of public policy and all of it, and the role of media and propaganda and myth making. We absolutely need, and that's why I just put the link to our last discussion with Kali Akuno in the chat, because Gamandi and everybody else, I think you all need to go back and revisit and listen more carefully to what Kali was saying in that interview, where we started with the critique that one and his crew had of me around my critique of cooperative economics, and then listen to Kali really talk about the actual experience of Cooperation Jackson. I think there's a lot of mythologizing around that, and I was very appreciative that he came on for that discussion. And we've been in touch again recently. There's gonna be another round of this in the coming weeks. But I put it's already in the show description for this episode. Please go back and revisit and listen. Please listen carefully to what he's actually saying about Cooperation Jackson. I think a lot of that got lost in the shuffle. But so yeah, I agree. But we can't ignore economics. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah.
And Bitcoin headed to the moon. And
Yeah,
so is
headed
Diallo.
to the moon. Again, what does that mean? It means the wealth you are creating for the actual holders of most of the Bitcoin and the platforms on which it's trading you're making them money. But if this is somehow going to get rebranded, and again, dude came at me. If you go back to my chapter on Cryptoganda, it literally starts off by saying it don't matter if it's up or down. The argument is the same. It's still based on speculation, a lack of distribution, consolidated and accumulated wealth and control over the platforms and the coins themselves, the blockchain, the blockchain itself. So please. And I picked up another book, by the way. One thing that got lost about my last visit to that Bitcoin conference at Howard is that I picked up another book on Pan-African, something about Pan-Africanism and Bitcoin, something like. And to be perfectly honest, the only reason I haven't brought it to the platform is because the brother, I think, is a decent human being and making an honest, but it is way wrong. And to Coco's comment, it is exactly why my argument is we need to engage economics, but on the basis of reality and study, not mythology. Because the mythology that's involved with that book is as bad as the one in the ones I reviewed, including Isaiah Jackson's book, Bitcoin and Black America. The analysis is the same, and it's wildly incorrect. So the engagement with economics is important, but just on a different basis. Yeah, Bitcoin is
living in the Geechee land.
I must be. Are we done? Did we get
who
through?
Who cares if it's correct or not? What's the personality? What's the delivery? I learned that from Diallo. Thank you, Diallo. Changed my life.
Don't put it on me.
All right, so what? So what? Do we? You gave me another
That
clip. You wanted to play a clip from last week's show? Is that what?
No,
you're
I was
saying?
actually going to the comments, but we already kind of talked about the idea around the solution, and then I actually wrote a long ass post about what I thought you were attempting to do and why it's important to.
Are you telling me
preference?
Do you want me to pull it up? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, you can, but I know Diallo was leaving, and we wanted to get to some other stuff, but that was
Yeah,
kind of early when we was talking about.
All right. So what else is there to get to?
Ready.
The
We got
video
through all
that you
the,
said-
the comments.
Yeah, that's all.
I think that was it. That was it.
Good.
So yeah, the only other thing was I got the clip. It's 6 minutes. Kwame Ture talking about what is capitalism from that Ricky sent. So we could either play it and let it close us out, or we can talk about it. I don't know how you want to. What do you want to do?
We could play it and respond. I know.
And then Diallo, do you want to? Are we saying peace to Diallo? Is that what we're doing?
I gotta be. I gotta be out by 9:30.
You're already late.
I'm in a different time zone.
Oh yeah,
you are. So you do it. Yeah. So you
y'all don't be acknowledging
so
that.
We'll play this as a segue to segue your exit, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, because I mean, I think Kwame Ture is probably the only person that could replace me and really fill my absence. So I think this is appropriate. I will allow it. And I'll talk to you brothers soon.
All right, man. Take it easy.
We must understand clearly when we talk about capitalism, who are the capitalists? As if we understand that there are only a few people who own and control the means of production in the society, then we begin to understand that there are a few capitalists. And these capitalists exploit everybody because everybody works for them. Everybody sells their labor to them. It is by selling your labor to a capitalist that he's really able to exploit you. Instead of going through theories, let me give some direct example. Let's say that I'm a capitalist. And let's say that I sell shirts. I sell shirts. I have a shirt factory. Let's say this is my factory. I own it. The machinery. I have a place where I get cotton. Now, I own it. I'm the capitalist. And let's say you are my workers. You are my workers. You don't know me. You never see me. You see my lackeys, maybe my foreman, but you never see me. Now, let's say it costs me 50 cents for cotton for every shirt I make. And let's say it costs me 50 cents for upkeep of my machinery. That's $1. And let's suppose I pay you $1 for every shirt you make. That means it costs me $2 to get a shirt. Labor included, your labor. I pay you for making the shirt. Now, when I sell the shirt, being a capitalist, and you must know something about capitalism, very important. The sole motivating force in a capitalist society is profit. Profit. That is the sole motivating force. Profit. Get money. Get it. Get it as fast as you can. Get it any way you can, but get it. Just get it. Just get it. And even in the African community, it affects us here in this country because Africans, those of us living in America, those of us born in America, we are imbued with the philosophy of capitalism, and sometimes we don't even recognize it. Thus, you find brothers and sisters even selling dope to their brothers and sisters to make money. Again, because we're imbued with the philosophy of get some money. Ain't nothing wrong to kill for money. Hell, your country is napalming for money. You can certainly kill for some money. All right, just get it. Just get it. It's the overall philosophy. When we talk about revolution, we must talk about changing values. We must talk about changing values, and we must understand these values. To the shirt factory. I've not forgotten. I'm just going to tie it in. I'll tie it in for you. I'll tie it in. You will see, you must look under the shirt factory, too. You must look for spiraling economy. That's very important, spiraling economy. I sell the shirt for $5. I sell the shirt for $5. I don't do anything. You're the one who make the shirt. I'm exploiting your labor. You toil, you sweat, I get the fruit. That's right, I get it. But you grow it, you plant it by the sweat of your brow. I get it. I sell the shirt for $5. I am exploiting your labor. I really am exploiting your labor. I mean, even when you want a shirt, hey, you got to come to my store and buy the shirt for $5. Hey, I really am exploiting you. Now, You're workers, you're in a factory, so you begin to get social consciousness. Yes, you do. Marx talks about this. Because you're working together, you see the socialized process, the laboring process, and you're able to see clearly how you're being exploited. So you get together, and you start talking about, we want more money. You tell my foreman we want more money. So the foreman comes to see me. He says, the workers say they want more money. Later for them. Keep them working, man. So he comes back, no raise. So y'all work, but y'all get a little bit more agitated, you know, because it's scientific. The pressure rises, and as the pressure rises, the consciousness must rise. It's scientific. It can't be stopped. That's why revolution can't be stopped. Then you say, hey, look here, we're going to strike. So the foreman comes back and said, hey, they say they're going to strike. I say, oh, let them strike, man. And sure enough, y'all strike. Yeah, y'all strike on me. Now, when you strike, of course, my machinery stops. I ain't making no money. So after a while, I called my foreman. I said, what do they want? He says, well, they said they want $1.50 more a shirt. They want 50 cents more a shirt. So I said, okay, let them have it. So I'll bring you back. You happy? I pay you $1.50 more. Right, so it now costs me $2.50 to make a shirt. It cost me $2.50 to make a shirt. Before, it cost me $2. I was selling it for $5. But hey, look here. I can't go out there and keep selling it for $5. Hey, how am I gonna do that? I'm gonna lose profit. And look here, since the sole motivating force in a capitalist system is profit, ain't no need for me to come and sell it for $5.50. Hey, no. Next time you see that shirt on the market, it's gonna cost you $7.50. Right, right. And that's what's known as the spiraling economy. Because profit is what about wages go up into demands of the workers and prices rocket. Wages go up, prices rockets. And it keeps going and going and going until it's got to blow the top. It's scientifically real. That's why Nixon is talking about freezing wages and freezing prices. He's stupid. You got to freeze capitalism, Nixon. Freeze capitalism. That's a problem. That's a problem. Yes, that's a problem. You must understand these concepts, because once you begin to understand them and master them, you will see the inevitability of revolution. Not only the inevitability of revolution, but you will see the inevitability of victory for the struggling masses around the world once you understand the scientific principles of revolution. Once you understand it.
Now listen, that's called